On Thursday, I was rearranging the doll shelves, and that involved putting some dolls in storage and breaking down some other dolls whose combinations I really wasn't too thrilled with, which included that Mackie Barbie head I'd put on a Curvy body. I like the Mackie head. I know some people really dislike the Mackie head because it was just oversaturated 20 years ago. And it was oversaturated. And I went through a phase where I didn't like it, but now I like the Mackie head again. But this Mackie head, the hair color wasn't really, and the makeup, and I didn't feel like repainting her, so I decided I just took the head off the body. And, well, I had this headless, pale, curvy body. I thought, Chip, come on. You gonna do it again, Chip? So I thought, I wonder how a Rika head would look on this pale curvy body. And I put the Rika head on the curvy body, and it was really cute. And I took a picture of it, and a lot of people agree that's really cute. But then I started looking at the curvy body more, and I put the Rika head back on the body she'd been using. Technically, this Rika had been using a Blythe body. And I looked at the curvy body and thought, you know what, real fast, I'm going to do that hybridization, customization, body modification, whatever you want to call it, that Strangest Doll Collection had done, where you put live knees into curvy legs. And eventually you also put elbows in, but I was just working on the knees. So I figured it'll be fast. I'll cut the legs apart at the knees, I'll cut the knees off of a live, and I'll angle the top and the bottom of the knee unit so I can slide up inside the curvy legs. So I cut the knees off the lives first, and I ground off the top, lots of Dremel work, and ground off the bottom. And then I cut open the first curvy leg, I cut in half, and oh, it's vinyl. So it was hollow inside, but not consistently hollow. It was really thick. And also, I'd been planning to just fuse the live knees, the hard plastic live knee plastic, into, I thought it would be a hard plastic Barbie leg with plastic weld, which bonds. It's a chemical that's related to acetone, but not quite as hot. It doesn't melt the plastic as aggressively as acetone will melt hard plastic. So you with good ventilation, I did have the windows open even though it was 90 degrees outside, 89, 90 degrees. You can slightly melt the plastics, and then once everything evaporates, the plastics have actually intermingled with each other, and it forms a bond as strong as the plastic. But vinyl does not melt. That's why you can wipe vinyl paint off a vinyl face with acetone and not do any damage. So I turned to the plan became, well, I would have to fuse these in with epoxy putty. Not a problem. But because the plastic inside that leg was so thick, I knew I'd have to grind out the inside of the leg to make enough room for the knee unit and the epoxy putty. It's like, okay, well, that's fine. I will just do that. And then I cut the other leg apart at the knee, and it was solid vinyl there, because that's the other thing about the hard plastics are injected molded. They're exact sizes for the top and the bottom. The plastic gets squirted in, and then it's opened up and taken off the sprues. Vinyl is roto-molded, which means the exact amount of plastic you want is squirted into the mold, and then when everything's hot, it's spun really fast until it's almost cool, and then it's pulled out, and then it's allowed to cool completely on the outside. That's why curvy legs seem like hard plastic. They don't seem as soft as the head, but they are still vinyl. So just the amount of plastic you want is put inside, so it's not going to be consistently deposited. Like if some doll heads, if you can ever look inside, especially cheap doll heads, the thickness of the vinyl can vary a lot because of the way it's roto-molded. So I had to completely hollow out the one leg, and then I got the knees to fit, and I put the epoxy putty in, and I set it aside overnight, and the next morning I picked it up to work on it, to bend things, to see if it was well secured, and it wasn't. And so I reground that knee and put it aside, and just stepped away from it and let it sit for a while. But I got encouraged and inspired to work on other Dremel doll projects that I hadn't been working on. Because like rerouting or anything else, I have to be in the right mood to want to Dremel a lot. Also, if I try to Dremel in the winter, since the Dremel is in the basement, we have a daylight basement, so this where the Dremel is by the window, so I get natural light. but also it can be cold in there. Once you put on the dust mask, it just fogs up my glasses. So it's a little better to do that in the stinking hot summer when I'm not going to steam my glasses up. So one of the projects I'd wanted to do for a while was that action figure body I got in a trade a few months ago. It was a Dragon Models Limited DML Eve 2.5 body, which the original Eve 2.0 body had a normal neck connector at the top, and the head that went on it was like a fashion doll head with no neck on the head sculpt. But the 2.5 body, the neck is part of the head sculpt. So once you take the head off, the body has no neck. And people figured out when those bodies were new on the action figure boards, well, you could cut the neck off of a fashion doll and glue that. I think they were using super glue. I'd gotten to where I was using epoxy putty, but now like I said, I can use, it's all hard plastic, so I used plastic weld. So you can cut the neck off the fashion doll body and then shape the inside of that and grind down the neck nub on the action figure body and put that all together. So I did that. So I had this pale, super articulated body, but I realized I didn't have any heads in my head box to use with the body. So I looked at the dolls on my shelves and I decided Levia would get it. She was cute on the Project MC Squared body, but I think she's cute on this body too. This body is super articulated. One of the things that Dragon does is so the joints don't wear out, you know, like on a Monster High or a Barbie, the more you use it, the floppier the joints get. Well, these are never going to get floppy because they're ratchet, but it does make playing with the dolls a little noisy. So anyway, yeah, she's super articulated, so she can, although I will say this, the sculpting on this elbow and these knees are a lot cuter than a made-to-move elbow and knees. So, of course, made-to-move has the advantage of being Barbie. They fit Barbie stuff. This body kind of fits Barbie stuff, especially if it's stretchy. But she has a really little waist and a generous bust because of these. People ask what's the difference between an action figure and a doll, and people will debate and debate and debate, but what it comes down to is a doll is made for, as far as the company is concerned, a doll is made for women and an action figure is made for men. Now, that doesn't mean the people actually buying them are women or men, but it does mean that female action figures tend to be endowed. So anyway, and she does have big, I'm probably going to find different hands for her. These hands are okay, but you're also notorious for the plastic cracking, and there's a big chunk of it missing on the wrist peg here. And I might find different feet for her. The other DML body I have is using feet from a MGA, same company as Project MC Squared, America's Next Top Model body, which I cut the feet off of because they're cute feet. Anyway, so that was a successful project, and that buoyed me on to, while the Curvy body was still curing, the epoxy putty was, I decided to work on other Dremel-based doll projects. The biggest one, but the easiest one, being getting Alan's head on an Ever After High guy body. Following John and Chris's examples, and especially Chris's example of using a bread tag inside the head on the neck to hold the head in place. And I had been putting this off for a while, thread, but I'm now very happy that I've done this because, well, look at them. So that's a project that I'm happy with and finally getting around to, and got a body out of the body box, and I will probably put his old body on eBay for a few dollars maybe. Not sure, but this head is never going back on his original body because the neck connector and all the grinding, it's just the original neck connector is gone, so he's here forever. And another project was routing out this Cali Guy Blaine head so it could fit on this Ertl Sportsman action figure body, which I had put just a little bit of Teflon tape. It still was not enough to hold in place because obviously I need to reroute him, so I need to be able to get his head off for a while, so I'm not worried about getting his head on permanently. And the thing about this body is also, like, this body was originally, the neck is supposed to be attached to the head sculpt, not to the body. So I put some epoxy putty, there's a lot of epoxy putty used lately too, epoxy putty on about halfway up the neck, let it cure, sanded it down. I mean, I didn't grind it, well, the Dremel ground it down. There's still a big line around it where I had to add an extra bit. Hold on! And then I painted it with a base of Vallejo Desert Sand. It was from my husband's miniatures gaming paint supply. And then that was just still a little bit too yellow or not orange enough, so I then blushed it with some orangey brown pastel and then sealed it. And it's not perfect, but for as lazy as it was, it's pretty good. Like I said, I thought about sculpting hair onto him with epoxy, but I think I will reroute him eventually. Now let me pause this while I go tend to the child. So, buoyed by that success with dremeling and dulls and putty and things, I remembered, before I get to that, I did amuse myself because I'm weird like this, looking at the Allen body, which it's in really good shape. There are no chews or discolorations or scuffs or marks or anything, so like I said, I might try to sell it. But I was looking at it and I thought, you know, that looks kind of like a bottle up there. I wonder if, So then that made me think, but what about his body? Since it's bigger and burlier, it should be lower pitched, right? So this one's a little harder to do, I'll bet I can't. Let's see. So that amused me, but I will probably put this on eBay, although I did think about keeping it to do. I've had an idea for a while to do really cheesy my own Halloween sound effects, and I don't know if this could be an owl. Glimpse into my brain. So the other thing I had been wanting to do with the Dremel work for a while is, remember that Project MC Squared body I'd put the Gen A head on? The Integrity Gen A head. And I said I kind of wanted to put articulated Barbie Fashionista's legs on it. Well, since I was dremeling a lot and plastic welding a lot, since it's all hard plastic, and there's also John, the melting hard plastic and acetone goop that John discovered, I went ahead and did that. And so here she is, and I'm really happy with this combination. I will show you the gory details in a moment. I'm really happy with this combination because it's Blythe-sized up here, just a touch bigger than Blythe, but still it's got Barbie shoes, so that means that I have now a doll who has all of Blythe's wardrobe, although of course Blythe stuff is too short, but still Barbie shoes, and just as far as versatility, that's pretty good. So anyway, I will show you the gory details of... I did, of course, grind it flat after I was finished, but since the pelvis of the Barbie is hard plastic and the torso of the MC Squared doll was hard plastic, that means that I could tack them in place with plastic weld. Also, there's like a crossbar in the pelvis of the Barbie body that's stuck up a little bit after I cut around the outside, and then there's like a flat shelf on the MC Squared body, which is actually above the legs just to keep stuff from getting up into the body. And so I actually, to start tacking them together, I put a blob of epoxy putty on top of the crossbar and the Barbie, and it kind of squished up into the MC Squared body, and then I tacked it with plastic weld, and then once the plastic weld was dry and cured, evaporated, whatever the proper term is, then I clipped some stuff off of the MC Squared pelvis to melt that in the acetone in a jar with the window open, and filled that in this place and then put it out on the porch to cure outside. And then when that was dry, I ground it flat, and it is very flat. There's a few rough places, but I don't think it would show up. Like if she was wearing something tight, the Barbie logo on the underwear would probably show up more. But the really big problem was that the underwear line, and I cut each body along the underwear line, was lower on the MC squared doll, so there's a little more butt involved. So I had to fill that in with epoxy putty, or else there would be like a half centimeter, half centimeter almost gap between the MC squared body and where the actual rump was on the Barbie body. So I might paint this, but I might not, because my dolls don't usually walk around naked, and I do have some cute pairs of vintage doll underwear. And as far as proportions go, the elbows are still at the waist because that's all MC squared up there, but now the wrists, the palms of the hand fall properly here. They might be a little short on the leg, but not too short. So I am very happy with this. Again, I did this out of necessity because once I got this Janae head on this MC squared body, I really wanted her to be a little bit taller, and I don't like the MC squared legs. So I have another MC squared body. I'm not sure. Oh, well, also this Fashionista's body had a chewed up hand. Actually, the feet are kind of chewed up too. I need to sand those. Thrifting. But had a chewed up hand, so I hadn't been using that body, so I didn't mind sacrificing it for this. So, but I don't know if I want to do this with another doll, another two dolls combining into this. And really, I looked at, hold on. In theory, I could combine the Barbie torso with the Project MC squared pelvis, but that just, I don't like the stylized proportions on these legs. I don't like these feet, because I have way more Barbie shoes, and I have shoes that are going to come anywhere near fitting this, which is technically my 2 pairs of Bradzilla's shoes that I still have. So even though, yes, you could make another doll by combining the parts that you don't use to make this doll, I don't think I would. So I'm not sure I'm going to make another one of those, but I do like a doll who can wear Blythe and Barbie. So after that, I just started digging around in my body box and my heads box, trying to figure out combinations that I could use just to get the population reduced in both boxes. And I decided that this Fashion Fever Teresa head matched this Liv body really well. But the problem was this Liv body, the pin inside the neck, the bar that holds the neck connector in place, had broken out. So I needed to fix that. So the original lay of the bar went from the front to the back, but I knew this was not going to be pretty, so I drilled side to side. And then I put some old Volks sprue, which, if you know about, you think of a model car kit, how all the pieces are on that sort of grid outside that holds all the pieces, that's the sprue. It's fairly useful stuff. So I don't know if I even used the stuff that was on the Volks sprue, but I still have the sprue, and it's skin tone and very useful. So I drilled to the side of her neck. Like I said, I did a terrible job of it, as I knew I would. I might touch it up, but it's held in place with a combination of, no, I don't think I even used plastic weld on it. I just straight up used the leftover acetone goop that was left over from this. I thought it would match color, but the Volks sprue was like Volks pale color, so the overall the match is not good. But with her fluffy hair, although she might get rerooted.
Hello!
Hello!
How are you?
Do you want to come and say hi to the camera?
Yeah.
Alright, come in.
Hi.
And those are people all make comments about, wow, he looks just like you.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I don't have cheese all over my face. Dorito face.
Look, look.
Alright,
No.
you want to talk about dolls?
No, I'm gonna stay in the video.
Okay.
Oh.
Although, as long as the door's open, we can also hear, what is that, Think Noodles in there yelling? So then I had this Kira head, and she's from 1990, so she has that 80s orange skin tone, but this Liv body isn't bad. The problem is,
Bum, 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 bum.
between her heavy hair and the slightly loose neck connector.
Yeah.
And she has it also loose neck connector. I need to get in there and add probably a bread tag to just tighten it up a bit. And another head that I'd been waiting to find a body for, but I just hadn't realized that I actually had a body that matched, is this Palm Beach Midge repainted by Bye. Screen name is Freetre. I'm not sure if it's Fritre or Fritre. I think it's Fritre, but it's probably not wrong. Anyway, so she'd repainted this Midge. And I love the way this repaint looks, but because it was a Palm Beach doll, I was just assuming that she was tan. But when I finally sat down and started comparing it to skin tones, it's actually no. She is pale articulated fashionistas color. So now I have this head on a body, and I'm happy. And yes, dressed her cookie. And then, just messing with bodies and things, a head I'd had in my head box for a while was this, well, you know, around holidays in the US, you often find plastic tubes with candy in it, and on top there will be a seasonally appropriate decorative plug to hold all the stuff inside. And so I'd thrifted this jack-o'-lantern a while ago that had originally, so I had the plug in it, so I cut that off. I mean, this neck could probably be shorter, but I was actually cutting along the lines molded into it, so I knew it would be straight. So I did not alter the body at all. Again, there's some Teflon tape on it. If you don't know about the magic of Teflon tape for making things fit, you can pick it up from the plumbing section, you wrap it around stuff a few times, and what was loose becomes not loose. So I put this on, again, an 80s orange type Ken body. This was actually Phoebus from the Hunchback of Notre Dame. But, so I had this very autumnal dude, and then I decided, I went through I took down my sales list. I'm done with my sales list for now. And I went through stuff that hadn't sold, and I just put it in a storage box, but I decided I would mess around with this gal again. So I changed her wig, I took her out of the sari, and put her in. Also, pumpkin fall thing. So now I have this Fall Friends in the whole, you know, the realm of creepy dolls. And actually I have more dolls, more heads that I put on bodies. Some of them need work, some of them need at least haircuts, or if not whole reroots. I'm not going to show those because I don't feel like they're finished, but there aren't that many. But you might be saying, well, wait, you started with the curvy body that you're adding these to? What about that? Well, this is where I've gotten on it. Just last night I added, well, I didn't even finish. This was the leg that fell off the day after I puttied everything together. And so I got that put back together, and then when I started grinding out the backs of the legs so it could bend as far as possible, when I started grinding out this side, it just fell out. So I sunk husband helped me find a bolt. So I drilled out a hole and put a little bolt in the top of the knee unit, and then put that in to give more surface area for the putty to grab onto. And then let that cure for a few days before I touched it again. And last night I put this putty on to fill in the gap because the Liv knees are not as wide as the curvy legs. So I put that putty on to fill the gap, and it's just, like I said, I put it on last night, so it's only just cured. So I have not sanded it flat yet, and then I will need to grind out the back of this because it doesn't quite bend as much as that one. I might be able to get more of a bend out of them, but that's pretty good. So then I will sand everything on this flat, and then I will paint up hopefully a good color match. Hopefully I can find a good color match in my pre-existing game colors. like elven flesh might be this pale. And then she will have these. And then I will start working on the arms. Now the arms shouldn't be as much of a hassle because I know these arms are solid vinyl. At least I hope they are. So I should be able to just cut this off, and I don't know if I even need to cannibalize the live arms for this, or if I can just go through my pack of Japanese hobby joints and like round off this arm, then you like cut a groove into it that you can put the hinge of the joint in, and then you drill through it and take some more of that sprue like I used for her neck and push that through, and then push the joint up in there, and then you have a basic elbow. I mean, she does not have a, I could have, if I'd known the legs were vinyl, I would have planned to do that just on the legs. But this side was not this side was hollow. This side was solid, so it would have worked on this side. And this side, I would have said, I can't do it on this side. It's not hollow. It's hollow. It's not solid. So she can't really swing her legs around, but there is a little bit of that built into the curvy hips. I was looking at an action figure with double hinge knees who didn't have any cut joints in her legs. Like Made to Move has cut joints, and this one has cut joints, so it can swivel. But I was looking at an action figure, and what that one had was just wider area inside the hip pivot. So I don't know. I'm not brave enough, confident enough to try to pop these legs off the pins like I've done with regular Barbie legs, because there is a possibility that I would snap the hip pin, and I don't want to do that now that I've put so much agony into those. Then we went to Target the other day. We went to Target, and I got the Magic Hair Kingdom giant Barbie on half off clearance, so $12.50. Obviously I've taken her head off. I like the Asha sculpt, it's just huge. So I'm not sure if I'm going to find a different head for this body. Queen of Squids has done some really cute things making these into anthro dolls with completely non-human heads on them. I'm not sure if I'm going to look for a larger head or if I'm going to start cutting this, because I think that since these limbs are vinyl, it would just be a matter of cutting the arm shorter, like here, and then we'll take this out, cut it shorter, cut this shorter also, then make a drill new holes for the pins to go in, and then you have shorter arms. Same thing on the legs, you would have to do some reshaping for the knee, but now that I know what to look for, these are definitely vinyl legs also, so they might be solid inside. And then the same thing, cut these off pretty short, and give her some other feet, maybe some live feet, I'm not sure, haven't thought about that far in the future. And then we would have to cut a big chunk out of the center to bring it down to the proportions of that, but that would be another way to get an articulated kind of curvy body. I haven't decided, like I said, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do that or not. Depends on what I find as far as heads go. And then, since I'd gotten all these other projects that had been languishing for a while, I sat down with my box of Barbie mending, and I repaired a few things that I had thrifted with tears in them. The biggest success being this dress, which Ragamuffin Squad let me know is a Barbie Best Buy from 1974. I think the number is 7757. I don't think it has an official name, it's just called Pink Dress. Their long pink dress. But it is made out of a polyester crepe, which is not a durable fabric, not a durable weave. So this seam was completely torn out, this seam was torn out, this seam, there were a lot of seams that were just frayed and gone. So I re-sewed those, making them smaller, because, you know, if the seam had been this much and that disappeared, then I had to move that much farther into the actual proper body of the cloth to repair it. So it went from Barbie size to it's a little big for the big sister body, but I really like it on her. Especially I put pictures up on Instagram and Flickr with her by some of my Halloween decorations and Halloween books, and I really like her. Makes me almost like this yellow hair. I've been thinking for a while I would reroot her, probably in pink. But I'm not so sure now. At least for now, I like the yellow hair. And then, Josh let me know that he has finished that doll head that I sent him to repaint, and it is adorable, and I should have it in a week or so, and I'm excited about that because it is adorable. And then I went to the post office today. I got this card from... Okay, I can't remember if your YouTube name is Sela Giovanni or Beethoven's Ghost because you use both names, but thank you. I won't use your real name because I know people... I respect people not wanting to use their real names online, but thank you for this very cute card. And trade box from Canada. So, some of this stuff I knew I was getting, some of it is random. Like, some more hair. This fantastic off-brand, this has to be off-brand dress. Although I admit I might just sew something from just this. Oh yeah, I could do that. I could just make this into, just take the skirt off completely and leave this as a peplum top. Yeah, that's what I think I will do eventually, is just make this into a cute little peplum top and make this into something else completely, because this is a great print. Oh, this is also fantastic. It's not buttoned, so it looks a little large. Oh, and it has a slip too. Wow, this is nice. Was this homemade? My first impulse to say it was not homemade because this is not the kind of cloth that you would see for home use much, but it kind of has the hallmarks. Okay, I'm getting distracted. Anyway, so this will probably end up on a doll very soon. Thank you. I can use these parts, but this is just... I've never actually had Laguna. The thing about Laguna is every time I see a repaint of Laguna... Oh no, this isn't dry either. There's still goo in the glitter. Every time I see Laguna repaints, I love them. Even though original Laguna just doesn't do much for me. But this might be my first time to actually try a Laguna repaint. And then we have most of a Toralei, which I'm at the point now where the monster highs that I like are cats and a spider and werewolves. But this I can mess with, I can play with and fix up. I think I have some spare hands that are close. They might not be orange, but they're close enough. Thank you. And then the dolls I knew I was getting, we have Heart Family Mom with the head sculpt that was only used for 1 or 2 Heart Family Mom dolls and nothing else from Mattel. Most of the Heart Family Moms had the jazzy / star sculpt, but a few of them had this, which I've let this sculpt come and go at least once, but I think with a different hair color. She'll be much more my style. And another Hawaiian Barbie, just like this gal. She's in a stand, so she's too hard to get back right now, which I've posted pictures of her a while ago when I got her from Debbie Jones on Flickr. Yeah, this one's eyes are printed a lot better. But they are, I think, the same edition because they have the same very dark red lipstick and dark brown eyes. She's touch of green here, but I can fix that. So cool, now I have one to play with, or maybe just two to be sisters, because I do like Mexico arms. It's a silly little thing. But and Miss America. She's a walking Miss America too, isn't she? Yes. I know with practice you can get her to walk on a surface, but I obviously don't have that practice because this is the first time I've ever owned this doll. She still has her metallic Cluny lace crown on. She does not have a quick curl hair, so it will be a pleasure to fix up because I've seen people try to deal. I had a what were they called? Patriotic Sweethearts, American Sweethearts, something like that. A Mattel doll that used the Sunshine Family mom's face and body, but was supposed to be more of a glamorous Southern belle, and she had giant hair that was supposed to be curls, but for whatever reason it was quick curl. So it was really long, quick curl hair, and it was. I eventually, I don't remember if I sold her or if I just gave her to somebody else because there was potential, but it was really frustrating to pick up a doll and get poked by her hair. Like Golden Dream Barbie was the same way. So anyway, yes, her face paint is fantastic. Slight green nose, but I will clean that up. Because most of my dolls ended up with green nose when I was younger, like just, you know, when I was in my 20s and I didn't realize my hands were so filthy. So, thank you. This is Beetleboo. I traded Beetleboo for these. And, you know, I said before that the Mackie face was okay. I liked the Mackie face, but it was overdone. Well, really, the true love is the Steffi face, because when I was a kid, this was such a refreshing difference from the big smiling superstar Barbie. And she is, I'm sorry, I've never seen one of these in person. She has really great colors too. It's like purple and bright peach. It's very 90s colors for an early 70s doll. Alright, I'm babbling. This video is long. Thank you for watching. I don't know if I'll have this much next week, but maybe I will have other dolls I've finished. Maybe there will be progress on this. Probably not on him because he requires a reroute, unless I just decide to go ahead and sculpt his hair. But like I said, I have a couple dolls that I at least got the heads on the bodies, so they need some work. So, and I have at least one doll who I want to repaint, who's already ready, waiting to repaint. And I did not get that pattern made. The pieces are still laying on top of my scanner because I got distracted by Dremel's Power Tools and Fashion Dolls and Power Tools. So maybe I will get that done before the next video. And thanks as always for watching. I'll stop talking now.